Hello and welcome to another unboxing video here on the Light and Cassette YouTube channel. Today I'll be reviewing the Rock and Mankind Funko 2-pack from Walmart. Before we get to opening this up, I want to briefly touch on the Rock and Mankind's feud. In November 1998, the WWF title was vacant and there was a tournament held at that year's Survivor Series in which Mankind was supposed to be Vince McMahon's hand-picked champion. Well, at the end of the night, Vince and his son Shane, who was a referee, screwed Mankind, and The Rock had Mankind in the sharpshooter, and they said that Mankind submitted even though he didn't. And this was a takeoff of the previous year's Montreal Screwjob, which saw Shawn Michaels and Vince McMahon screw Bret Hart out of the WWF Championship for real. Mankind and The Rock would continue their feud through the rest of '98, with Mankind never getting the job done. However, on the January 4th, 1999 edition of Raw is War, Mankind would defeat The Rock with a little help from Stone Cold Steve Austin and one of the biggest pops you'll ever see in your life. Whenever Austin's music hits, holy shit, the place goes crazy. He hit Rock in the head with a chair. Mankind covered him. Mankind wins the championship, and the place goes banana. It was a short title reign, however, and Mankind would lose the title back to The Rock at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view in 1999 after taking about 10 chair shots to the head. It was a hellacious match, and Mankind really held or Mick Foley, the person, held I don't know, grudge against The Rock, but he definitely was not happy with The Rock after that match because of all the chair shots and with his kids seeing it, and because his kids were in the audience. And this footage was filmed for a documentary, Beyond the Mat, which is coming to my regular podcast feed soon. But yeah, it's quite a surreal scene. However, a couple weeks later, yet again, or actually it was a week later, Mankind beat Rock in an empty arena match on a segment called Halftime Heat, which was during halftime of the Super Bowl between the Atlanta Falcons and the Dallas Cowboys, between the Atlanta Falcons and the Denver Broncos. And it was a pretty cool match. I remember actually watching it live during halftime of the Super Bowl and turning it to this match, and Mankind used a pallet on a forklift to pin The Rock. It was kind of some hokey shit, but it was actually pretty cool in retrospect. I mean, I have a fondness for a lot of things WWF in 1999, so good or bad, I love me some 1999 WWF. Mankind would then drop the title back to The Rock on the Raw following the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. They had at the St. Valentine's Day Massacre pay-per-view, they had a match which was a last man standing match, and it ended with I guess it was a draw because neither man could answer the 10 count, and they had a ladder match the next night on TV, and Rock wins, and he's your new WWF champ, and he's off to face Stone Cold at WrestleMania 15, and Mankind kind of, he has a bit of a feud with the debuting Big Show, who debuted at the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, and he's fighting for the honor to be the ref at the WrestleMania main event, which you go from possibly being in the main event to a ref. Don't take a genius to figure out that's a bit of a step down. There were reports that it was supposed to be a triple threat match, but Shawn Michaels got into Vince McMahon's ear. Shawn wasn't wrestling at the time, but Shawn got in Vince McMahon's ear, and there was some fuckery about, and it just ended up being a one-on-one between The Rock and Stone Cold. Bit of a postscript on this. Mankind and The Rock ended up being tag team champions towards the end of 1999, the Rock and Sock connection. That's a bit of a fun spot for me as well. Now, we know that this is 1999 because of this tracksuit The Rock is wearing. Now, The Rock had this surgery. It's bitch tit surgery, for basically lack of a better term. He had these big pecs, and he wanted to get them filed down or defined down, however the fuck they did it. So he had that surgery, and he wore this tracksuit while he was champion in late 98, early 99. So you really can't pinpoint it to one part in his career. And it felt like, as a kid watching, he wore this fucking thing for years, but it was only a couple months. We look at the box. Box is pretty good. I mean, there's the clamshell's pushing out a little bit, but it's not damaged. It's just big. That side of the box looks good. Check out the top. That looks good as well. Just a little crease here where our tabs go. Bottom looks good. I got this at Walmart a couple weeks ago. I just figured I'd unbox it, show it to you, because I really, really loved 1999 WWF, and this hit me right in the sweet spot when I saw it, so I had to pick it up. 1999 is probably one of my favorite years overall of childhood. Movie-wise, it was just happening time for me. Of course, we have a picture of, like, not quite current day Rock, but like 2012, 13-ish Rock, because he actually has that tattoo. I don't know if he covered it up, but he got a bigger one, so he said it was the evolution of the Brahma Bull. Alright, box looks good, so I'm just going to open it, and I am going to leave it displayed on the shelf in the box, but I like to open it and at least check the figures out. I don't know if that drives the value down or not, but I don't really give a fuck, because I bought it because I enjoy it, not because I particularly want to sell it. And it's easier to check the figures out, make sure they're in decent shape. Got the Winged Eagle belt here. In my opinion, the best belt they ever had. Or the Big Eagle, not the Winged Eagle. The best belt they ever had. Because it's the one I grew up on, so I'm biased towards it. Rock looks pretty good. There's a bit of a mark on his eye there, but not terrible. I mean, I've seen some Funkos that are real. Like, how did that pass QA and get into the store shelves? Overall, this Rock looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. We got his long ass sideburns here. A couple of marks, but that one came off. About the eye here is the only part that looks really like there's any kind of goof up with it, but pull Mick out here, Mankind. Well, that's pretty good. He wore a blue tie, I believe, most of it, so I believe that's a little off. And these are the, when he first debuted as Mankind in 96, he had brown pants, and these look like the brown tight pants he was wearing. That's just a piece of something. Yeah, looks pretty good. Looks like a little fuck up here with his hair down at the bottom. But he's going to be sitting in the pack, so you won't even be able to see it. And that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it overall. The Rock, just that one little spot in his eye, but other than that, it looks good. And I actually bought these at Walmart like 2 weeks ago about. And when I went back to the Walmart I bought them at this past week, and they were all gone. And I was actually going to hold off, but I decided not to, just because this is one of the first rivalries that I remember going on like week to week whenever I started watching around that time, because I was a big fan when I was a kid, apparently, a little Hulkamaniac when I was a toddler, but I don't really remember much of that. I remember loving Hulk Hogan. I had lots of Hulk Hogan toys and shit like that, but I don't really remembered much of it except for loving Hulk. But whenever I started watching WWF in the late 98, early 99, this was the feud that was going on, so I have a soft spot for this feud. So whenever I saw these, it was a no-brainer pickup for me. If I can get the box shut again, that would be great. Yep. And there it is, the Rock and Mankind 2-pack. This was a good pickup. I'm trying not to get as much stuff recently, but whenever I saw this, it was something that I just had to have because this does take me right back to the childhood, hits me right in the nostalgia, and that's kind of what my channel is all about. So thank you for tuning in. Hit subscribe down below, and I'll be back with some more unboxings and showing you guys stuff here on the Late Cassette on YouTube.